Hello Reddit. English teachers, what topic on a write about anything essay made you lose hope in humanity? I've had classmates submit essays copied straight up from Wikipedia including the blue hyperlinks and all. My girlfriend and her sister have some pretty daft assignments. The GF got asked to write a paper on any aspect of history, so just wrote about her life up until that point. Her sister got asked to do a presentation on evolution and did it on the 2001 film. English tutor here. I had a student in high school who was really struggling with the writing prompts I was giving him. He was studying hybrid genres in school and how to write a hybrid genre short story. So I basically gave him long listed genres, told him to pick any two he wanted and combine them to write a story. He didn't get it. He emailed me asking for clarification, like which topic do I choose here? And I told him he could be as creative as he liked. Pick horror and C/F, pick mystery and crime, pick romance and mystery, whatever strikes your fancy. I literally could not have given him an easier prompt. Then he asks me to give him some examples of hybrid genre stories, so he has an idea of what to write. So I emailed him a list of famous hybrid genre books. For instance, The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury, Gun with occasional music by Jonathan Lethem, Harry Potter, etc. This kid basically latched onto Harry Potter and rewrote the sorting ceremony from Philosopher's Stone, word for word. There was no orientation, no info about his main characters, who were coincidentally also called Harry, Ron, and Hermione. No complication, no climax, no resolution. It was literally just an incomplete retelling of the sorting hat ceremony from the first book. Not only did this kid fail to think of a single creative story idea, he plagiarized one of the most famous books of all time and was daft enough to think I wouldn't notice. It really made me despair. I assigned a write about anything poem assignment. They could choose any style of poetry based off of any of our mentor texts. They simply had to incorporate their interests or themselves into the poem style. One of my students, 11F, shared, for the very first time, her experience of being raped by her grandfather. I talked to the student, called the parents, the guidance counselor, child protective services, and the police. The grandfather is in prison now. Fuck bad people. Edit. Thanks for silver, and thanks for the responses. This poem haunted me from the moment I read it. I was a student teacher when I gave and read this assignment, and I had a moment of wow, can I handle this? Thankfully, I came to the conclusion that I could handle this because I realized that any one of my potential future students might also need someone else to confide in and lean on in times of trouble. I'll always be there for my kids. Well, it wasn't the topic itself, but a student literally cited The Onion as a main source. That was enough to make me lose hope. It was elementary level. A harmless "what did you do on the weekend?" thing to practice diary style writing. The amount of casual child abuse they described was shocking. Not a teacher either, but I remember I had to read over a classmate's essay and he wrote about a bunch of Disney princesses going to jail on Alcatraz. A classmate of mine had an assignment to pick a photo and write a creative story about it. He wrote two. The first one was about the entire English class being stuck on an island and how they were going to survive by killing and eating each other. He made the people he hated in that class the sacrifices. The second was a scenario where gay people were the majority and how he and the remaining straights were going to fight off the apocalypse. He had to read both to the class as punishment. He also almost got suspended. Yikes. I wrote an essay in 4th grade about people were all stupid and how much I hated my stupid life. The teacher gave me a B+ and said nothing more about it. Why Hitler did it? I'll leave it at that, other than saying it was a university level writing course. Not a teacher, yes, I know, but when I was a freshman in college, we had a write about anything essay, so I decided to write a 3-page paper about why people needed to figure out how to evolve like Pokemon if we were to survive in the coming years. I got a C. Not an essay, but we were doing impromptu speeches, and one guy recited the Weird Al song Albuquerque word for word until the teacher finally told him to stop after 10 minutes. I had a college buddy who graduated a couple years back take a writing class, in which they were allowed to write whatever fictional story they desired. For this assignment, he desired that he wanted an accredited professor to read erotica. He sat down and wrote 10 pages of porn, detailing the discovery of sex from the perspective of a young, thick, female. He got an A. Not a teacher, but I once wrote a 6-page essay on my theory of existence. My teacher was evidently miffed, cause my parents were called and not long after. Still got a B though. Not an English teacher, but for one of these topics I did it on an Armageddon, but the only people who survived was a cult who worshipped Danny DeVito and Slenderman. It was later revealed Slenderman was a huge Danny DeVito fan. It was unknown how the apocalypse started for the first half, but later it was shown that God himself struck down Danny DeVito for being too sexy, which put most of the population off the map. At the end it is revealed that it was just a prank by a super alien race, named the Floridians, no relation to the people of Florida, except one of them might have had sexual relations with an alligator down there. It was never explained, and all they had to do was hit the respawn button on their Minecraft account. I got a B-. I don't want to trigger people, that's not my brand, but freshman year of high school I vividly remember getting into this argument with a dude because his free topic was why feminism is bad, and then proceeded to tell me how I belonged in the kitchen and how he was better than me because he was a man, and yeah, I lost hope in humanity at that point. Not a teacher, but in middle school I was forced into this leadership class. The last project we did in that class was a 5 to 6 minute presentation on any subject of our choice. There was this scrawny and weird kid in the class that was always on his phone and he never talked to anyone. Well, presentation day comes around, and this kid rolls into class with a poorly made koala head, and we all assumed that he was going to inform us about koalas or something. No. This kid, full of energy, storms up in the middle of the room and gives an extremely detailed presentation about his fursona. I remember his presentation time being far longer than 5 to 6 minutes and no one stopped him. He even went over common vocab used in the furry community and shared a couple of paragraphs from his poorly written fanfiction involving his fursona and another FNAF character. I felt incredibly bad for this kid because he was extremely creative, but instead he spent all of his time and creative efforts on something that doesn't really matter all that much.